to claim victory, controlling minds for 2,000 years, kept us in line by stoking our fears. No longer will we hide who we are. We're stronger together by far. We are witches, we shall rise from the earth into the skies. Unite.
I'm bopping out again, Chrissy. You're muted, Chrissy. There you go.
I know. There we go. I'm always it mutes all the time. I don't know why. So anyway, hello everyone from out there in the audience. Welcome to Within the Cauldron. We have a very exciting guest today for you, and I'm just ready to dive in and get the party started. But first, let me introduce you to Miss Luna. Now, Luna is a professional tarot reader, paranormal content creator, producer, and editor with over 10 years of experience in the spiritual and paranormal community. She is a creator of the Modern Mystic Tarot deck that is available through her Etsy shop and has appeared in numerous podcasts, live streams, and paranormal programs. Known for her commitment to ethics and transparency, Luna is a vocal advocate for exposing scams, fraud, and misinformation within the spiritual community, while encouraging critical thinking and responsibility for spiritual practices through her growing TikTok community. She has built a welcoming coven that fosters education, connection, and respect for discussion for those interested in the paranormal and the mystical. So welcome, Luna. I'm glad that you came on.
Thanks for having me.
We're super excited.
I'm excited.
I have to
Yes.
say one thing before we get started. Thank you for going after the bullies.
Yes, we're not worthy of you. We're not worthy of you.
I had that happen literally, like I told you before. I had that happen where I had a lawyer come in and have to write a letter. But on top of it, just recently, we just had a podcast where the crew that I actually do investigations with as a medium, some crew that we have never even heard of, just like called us out on the carpet for shit that we don't even do. So and of course, you know, he's bullying us, but I love that you go after the bullies. So I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And you know who I'm talking about.
You're welcome.
So, but I think the first thing we want to ask you is who you are. Okay. We want to get to know the person behind the name. Okay. So how did you get started and everything you do?
So it's a little bit of a long story, but I'll shorten it so I don't put people to sleep. I kind of fell into it. I was born an identical twin. So I believe that to already be a supernatural experience to begin with. You know, I'm an identical twin. Her and I shared crazy dreams at 3-4 years old that we remember, very spiritual, weird, deep things. You know, so I believe just being born in as a supernatural being to begin with is going to have some crazy, interesting events in life. And, you know, there's a psychic connection with being a twin. There's always that pull that's, you know, you have a connection for being a mom that no one's ever going to understand, you know, connections with siblings or relationships, but a twin is a very different connection in itself. You're born in the same, you're like in the same sack, you know, you're like cooking together, you learn everything together. So that was something that went against me, just as a kid, just being different, being strange. And I do believe those go hand in hand. So any of my twins out there, feel free to comment below about some of your twins are like, oh yeah, supernatural experiences. They're like drawn. But my first experience with death is how I really got started in this. I always had like supernatural, paranormal things happening. The houses that we grew up in were always haunted. Don't know why. It just weird things would happen. I felt like, just things I couldn't explain would always happen around me. But I always just kind of just been like, that's home. If a spoon's not flying off the counter, then that's just not, home. It was just so natural. But, my father got diagnosed with cancer when I was 10. He passed away a year, so I was 11. And right before he passed away, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks before he passed away, I was sitting in the passenger seat because I'm only 11. I wasn't driving at the time. My mom was driving. We were just going downtown. I don't really know what we were doing. I had this vision, like in my third eye, of the funeral, his casket, and it just kind of like caught me off guard. I was like, oh, why am I thinking that? That's awful. Stop, And then a few weeks later, he passes away, and, we have his funeral. We're at his memorial. And when I walk into the church, I see exactly what I saw in my vision, and it freaked me out. Like I turned pale and I told my mom, I can't be here. I have to go. So I could not actually attend my father's memorial because of how disturbing it was to see that vision come to reality. So I almost blamed myself in a way for him passing away, even though I know that that's, now not true. But as a kid, how do you explain that? You think I must have made it happen, how could you see that? And so, I had a hard time, and I steered away from death for a really long time. And then I found a little bit of fascination within the paranormal, like ghost hunting shows, like Ghost Hunters. I did watch Paranormal State when it was out. Those were probably the two bigger shows out at the time. And there was a British one. I forgot which one it was. Do you guys remember what the name of that one was?
Most Haunted.
Most Haunted. Okay. So yeah, that one where they would do all the live shows and stuff. Anyway, so I just became like, oh, well, maybe there's like more in the afterlife. Like you can actually talk to the dead, and so I started getting like more curious about it. And I looked into Penn State, where they had started the paranormal research through the show Penn State, the show, and they had a paranormal research society, and I wanted to go to college for that. Like I knew that I wanted to study it. It sounded interesting to me. Well, in 2007, I believe that's when it shut down as soon as I turned 18 and graduated. So I was like, dang, that didn't happen. And then I thought about, I'll be a mortician. I'll get into the, preparing the dead and, all of that. And, I experienced some things, some of my friends allowed me to see some things just to understand before I went to school for it, which you can. Sometimes a lot of funeral homes will kind of let you in and let you know some stuff, in a safe way. And there was just some things I saw that I just really, I just couldn't, and so I'm just like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. So I, started studying my own practices. I became a death doula through my, through certification online. And if you guys don't know do you guys know what death doulas are?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I became a death doula, trying to understand all different types of religions and what is around death in every religion and how people prepare. And, I just was like, I can help people grieve. I've done this before, and I became so comfortable that it became a little bit of an obsession, not unhealthy, but just trying to figure out, what is death? Where do people go? Is this a thing? And so I thought if I studied and tried to put myself close enough to it, maybe I could have the answers and help. Because I never wanted people to feel alone like I did, even though I had a support system. I had a family. I think sometimes people forget growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, speaking about having psychic abilities wasn't a very popular thing. That's not something you could talk about openly at all. So, for me, it was just like I felt very alone, and I never wanted anyone to feel that way. So got that certification. And my friend Katie, when I had lived in Florida, she says, hey, I want you to go on an adventure with me a weekend to Casadega, Florida, the spiritualist camp that's in Florida. And if you guys don't know what a spiritualist camp is, it's basically a bunch of people who live in a neighborhood that are magical people people, magical beings, witches, practitioners, things like that. And they had like a haunted hotel there and stuff. And she goes, let's go stay there. And I'm like, okay, let's go. She signed us up for a bunch of different classes, like, go get our tarot read. There was a psychic mediumship class, like all this stuff. And we did our tarot readings, and then we had to go to our psychic mediumship class. And I didn't really understand it too much. I had been to Reiki. I had done Reiki when I was 15. So I understood like the energy work and stuff, but I didn't really understand the psychic mediumship stuff. So she tested us on psychic stuff. It was like a fun group. You'd go with people you didn't know. And then it was time to do the mediumship. So I went with 2 people I didn't know. And I just sat there with a journal and a pen, and I just started writing down things that I saw. And people started crying. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And they're just like, no, they're like, I don't understand how you knew that. Like what, they're like, wow. And so the mentor actually approached me afterwards, and she says, do you know that you're a medium? And I was just like, I don't even know what that means. She goes, well, you can talk to the dead. She goes, I haven't had anyone come through this class in quite a while that just is that accurate, and you had no idea. And I'm like, oh wow, well maybe this is why all these weird things happened to me as a kid. Maybe that's why I'm so drawn to death. And if I can give people messages, just spiritual messages and guidance, I think that that's what I'd want, because that's more around the death doula, like mortician, just guiding and helping people. And so I started picking up a tarot deck, and back then they didn't have the beginner tarot decks that people can get on Amazon and all that stuff. So I got out my, my painter's tape, and I taped it on the back of the cards and wrote my notes, and really cards, because yes or no is just so simple when tarot actually has a story. So I saw that that was creating bad habits. Like, where do you look? It's like, some of it's not facing the right way. Like, what does that mean? When people are looking at it, I know what it means, but if you're looking at it, you're not going to really understand. So I said, how about I bring the imagery into today's day and age, the modern Mystic Tarot deck. I'm going to modernize it. I'm also going to bring in the LGBTQ plus IA community. I'm going to bring in all of my witchy community. I'm going to bring in different races, different cultures. I'm going to bring in different disabilities like vitiligo. You're going to see wheelchairs, different disabilities. And I was like, I really wanted it to be something that people would understand. And when they look at it, it's clean. It's beautiful. So I wanted it to be a very straightforward understanding when you looked at the cards. So, you have your element, you have your zodiac sign, the forward and reverse. And I got rid of Roman numerals as much as I think they're beautiful. Not everybody can read Roman numerals. Right. And then when you flip it over, it's actually facing the right way. Because on most beginner tarot decks, you're kind of having to go like this to read it because they're not printing it with you. So I just decided to, just do different tarot cards, that you can read. She's holding a cell phone. There's emojis. I wanted it to be super fun. So I took that on. It took me about 6 months to create this deck. Oh my God. It was quite the adventure. I really fought with, is this going to offend somebody? Is this appropriate? If I'm, looking at different cultures, is this going to be respectful? So when I say that I put a lot of effort into this deck, I did. There's even some people you'll recognize in the deck from the tarot community that have cerebral palsy, or, or in the handy-capable community. There's a lot of different people I did put in the deck as well. So my community is in here too. Give little fun odes like the coffee cup instead of the chalice. There's our vitiligo.
I love it.
Cards. So everything is just really wonderful. So I did that, and it really took off. A lot of people love that deck, and a lot of tarot readers used it. And then I was like, I really do love the paranormal, but the paranormal is a bunch of content creators screaming demons all the time. And I had issues with that. There was a lot of issues. Some of you already follow me on TikTok. You would know that I went after a lot of the witches, and I went after a lot of the BS and the lies and the manipulation in that community. And it just kind of trickled into the paranormal. And then when the Warrens thing started happening with Andrea Perrin and Jason Hawes and all of that, that's when it kind of really skyrocketed for me on Facebook with the other girls. And I started getting more verbal about like, don't be a bully, don't do that. That's not right. So that's kind of like the time of how everything happened. I kind of condensed it. There's a lot more than that, but I didn't bore people with how I got to here. So that's how I got here.
I have to go on to your site to look at those tarot cards. I haven't had a deck for so long that because I'm so used to my deck, but I think it's time for me to get another deck, and I think I would try your deck. It sounds really interesting.
It's very witchy. It's very witchy. I am a very big fan of Archie Comics. Do you guys know Archie Comics, Sabrina the Teenage Witch? Yeah. I'm a massive fan of her, and I have like all of her stuff and signed and comic books and stuff. And so I was very drawn to wanting my cards to feel like Archie Comics and be that inviting, like old way of like looking at what witches looked like through comic books. And I thought that would be really fun instead of typically doing what you would see. So a lot of my deck has a lot of personal meaning for me, and the way that hats are represented in the background, there's little fun things that you can point at like Archie Comics would do. So yeah, I really got a lot of my inspiration from comic books back in the day of like how witches work. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Love it. Sis, I take it to you.
Well, I think she's kind of covered most of the stuff that we were originally going to talk about there. So that's good. I like that.
I came prepared.
I love it. That's awesome. So I guess I would love to go into the paranormal. You're known for exposing the fraud and misinformation in a spiritual community. What's the most common red flag that people should watch for?
With tarot readers or witches or practitioners, it's the same thing. It just depends how you present yourself. When it comes to TikTok, I'm only going to speak on behalf of TikTok because that's kind of my niche. That's my thing. That's where I do a lot of my work from. I would be very careful of guarantees. There is no such thing as guaranteeing anyone's energy at all whatsoever. I would also be very aware of anyone willing to read someone else's thoughts, energy, emotions when they're not sitting in front of you. So if someone's asking a question, what does he feel about me? That should never be touched with a 10-foot pole without having permission from both parties. It's a very ethical thing. I always say you don't want someone speaking on behalf of you that you don't know. That would make anyone mad. I think ethics are massive. The biggest one is the yes or no questions. Can tarot read that? Yes, it can. But I think we have to kind of look at, is it too good to be true? Does he love me? Yes. Well, you can't really guarantee that. So just be careful. Right. I would say study the cards. It's okay to ask the person who's reading your cards, hey, what cards did you pull? So you can go do your own research and be knowledgeable on things. Also be very careful with anyone guaranteeing they can get anything for you, like love or communication, hexes, that's silly, curses, that's silly. A lot of them are going to use fear tactics, like I see a curse or hex on you. If you meet with me for $250, I can burn this candle and get rid of it. I mean, just, I would really say just use your noodle, and if it sounds too good to be true, most likely it is. I am one of those witches that believe very much in magic. I believe magic has changed my life. I will never go back. Magic is wonderful, but there's also a healthy relationship with being grounded in reality. And exist with each other. I think spiritual psychosis is a real thing. I think that there's a lot of practitioners that haven't done their shadow work. That's also another thing I'm very adamant about. If you're going to be a spiritual anything advisor, someone who is going to be helping someone with advice, if you have not done the shadow work yourself, it's going to come from a very empty place. Like if you're not in a good relationship, you should not be giving relationship advice, even through the tarot, because the tarot is a reflection of you giving advice to them. So for me, is everyone's life perfect? No, not at all. And that's not what I'm saying, but shadow work is massive. Understanding your craft, understanding that magic comes from within here. It doesn't come from a candle or a spell jar or any magical thing. That's what I would say about the witchy part of it. The paranormal. So the paranormal is different. There's different lines. I would say there are two different genres. You have your content creators and entertainers, and you have your paranormal paranormal investigators. Your paranormal investigators are actually what I would consider debunkers, which is what I would think I am. As being an investigator, you should debunk and ask any and every single question. Be obnoxious, because that's how you're going to get the answers. And remember, staying grounded in reality is really important, even in the paranormal. There is no Bible or handbook that says this is how things are and this is what's real or not. When our opinions start running wild and we start saying they're facts, that's when we have an issue. I have no problem with the entertainers on YouTube or any of that. They have to get their bag. They have to make their money at the end of the day. But I just wish that they could say for entertainment purposes only in their bios. I think, when it comes down to watching anything that might be crazy or like, wow, this content creator is really having a lot of activity all the time. Start questioning those things and say, what, they're probably for entertainment purposes, because like that's not realistic. So I would just say, somebody who is heavily using equipment all the time, that would be something to be weary of as well for me. I would just say I would put them more in the content creation side. Again, no issue with that. You have fun and do what you want to do. But when they start pushing facts or saying that this is how this is, that's what I would be careful with the paranormal, because it's all up to interpretation and personal experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree 100%. And on top of that too, there are no experts in this field. And I get so tired of hearing people say, well, I'm an expert in this field, even as mediumship, like I'll say, hey, the more I learn, the more I know less of. And I always say I'm going to be a student, a lifelong student of my craft. So, the point of everybody saying, oh, I'm an expert, it's like, there's no experts in the paranormal world. I'm sorry.
You might be an expert of the device and know how to use it. You might be the expert of understanding how to edit or turn on your video camera, or been doing this for a while and understand the terminologies. But as far as having an actual answer for everything, it's not. And I think a lot of people need to realize that your own personal opinions, we're not invalidating them as debunkers. That's not it at all. We love that you have those experiences and you want to share those with us. But when you start telling people it's a demon, this is what happened, this is how, it's just like, it becomes like we're blurring the lines of reality and fiction. And I love magic. I do believe in the impossible, but until I see the impossible with my own eyes, like it's the same thing with Bigfoot. Everyone says that guy exists, but they can't get a dang good picture of him. A clear picture of him, it's just like, I still speculate Bigfoot himself. Cause we got these phones now. They should have a picture. But I would just say the paranormal, I think it's meant to be fun. I think it's meant to be fun. I think it's meant to just open our eyes. And if anything, we should go into an investigation appreciating the history, appreciating where you're at, the things that people experienced, giving your love to those people, whether it was horrible or positive experiences. And I think that's what we should take away from, is making sure that we try to take care of these places as much as possible and use it as an experience to learn and find a community with other people. And that's just not happening in the paranormal. It really is not.
No, it's not.
It's a cash grab.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it is. And since you said that, okay, now do you think that they are showing the real Annabelle, or do you think it's just a regular Raggedy Ann doll?
I mean, she would be really old at this point. And I cannot imagine that cloth and that material would really be in that good of condition. I digress. It's possible. But here's the thing. I have to say that this is all like speculation, because we don't really have that answer. There are some people that worked close with the Warrens and say, no, they've switched that doll out. Even a few times we've heard. So all I can say is that's hearsay. I can't say that that's a fact. You hear that, paranormal? I can't say that's opinion. It's just it's not a fact. That's how we should be talking. But there are some people who have come forward that say that they have worked closely with the museum, and they say that she has been switched out. For me, it just doesn't make sense. There's a lot of other, items in the museum that are not what they say they are. Like the fire doll, for instance. They say that you guys know about the fire doll or no?
No, I
Oh, yeah.
don't.
It was
You
this
don't?
doll that supposedly, survived a house burning down. And it was the only thing that was left in this house that survived. And so they called her the fire doll because she was not burned or at all. And they have her hands completely covered in I think it's like plastic or something. So she weren't going down anything else, whatever, eye roll. Well, she wasn't manufactured till after the fire. If you put her into a Google search, she wasn't manufactured until after. So that's why I'm just we have to ask questions. We have to do investigation. We have to it is okay if they want to do this for fun. The fact that they're not saying it's for fun or entertainment is what's frustrating.
Yes.
Because people are gullible enough to believe it. So
yes, absolutely, because they're not educated. They're not sure what. I'm not saying they're not stupid. I'm just saying that they're not educated on the facts. And the thing is it's hard. There's newspaper clippings. There are so many things on the internet that kind of coincide with what us debunkers say about the Warrens. But in the end of the day, no one really truly knows the story except the Warrens, right? All we can do is speculate and put out there. So all we can go off is say, use your noodles, understand that what you're seeing is not reality, right? There's no way, I think in my mind of what we know of demons, that a demon's going to stay in a wooden box with a piece of glass and some really fancy tarot cards and crosses. And, for me, it just seems silly when you say it like that. Does that make it true? No, but I just think it's silly. And I also think you can look at the intentions of a human being to say, hey, this doll is 100% possessed by a really evil demon. Let's travel with her everywhere and put her in the public eye so where people can be around her and possibly get possessed or harmed. People buy it and love it. So,
that's how I feel about it. And who says if it is the real Annabelle, when they open up the case, why doesn't, that demon can just go into somebody else because the case is open.
Also, she's been photographed in Halloween parties. I believe in the 70s, there are news clippings of people holding her and taking pictures with her at Halloween parties, so it's just it just shows you. I mean, Lorraine's held her, Ed has held her. I mean, shit, everybody said depending on the day and how he felt, it was a different story about Annabelle. He was always changing the story. And that's not just coming from hearsay. That's coming from the horse's mouth. People witnessed him. If you watch the Netflix documentary, there's a lot that goes over that, which I think is interesting. So if anybody has any interest in it, go look up the Netflix documentary. I don't know what it's called, but they do go over quite a bit. There's also another podcast, which you guys know her, Stevie, the Truth or Demons podcast. She studies the Warrens, and she's very good at bringing forward what could be possible factual information about them. And she talks to the family members and people close by. She's done so much research. She's reached out to police departments, records places. So she really does take it serious. So I would say recommend reaching out to her and watching her stuff.
I think we did reach out to her and we're in the talks of her coming on and everything. Now, next month, Sis and I is going to go to Salem, and I know Annabelle is at Salem. They're selling tickets and everything, which is fine if you want to go see her, but I'm not going to waste my money on seeing a Raggedy Ann doll.
It's $200. I think it's $200 to see her. I think it is. That's what I was hearing through the grapevine. Yeah, and then you can buy a little tchotchke of her. That's I think it's another $200 or $300 that has their signatures on it, and one of them isn't really their signatures. It's an AI I don't know, saying that it's sat 100 days or no, was it 30 days or 60 days with the doll or something like that? It's in a room that's sat, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, wow. So I mean, I roll right now. I mean, you do you. If it makes you happy, go do it. No. I just have an issue with them being there all together because I don't know if you guys saw the screenshots going around, but Elton Castee made a comment, and this is just me cliff noting. I don't know word for word. Please look up the screenshot. But he basically said, I don't know what the witches have to do with the history of
With
Salem. And
yeah.
is. So I'm just like, how we yikes, you're going to go to a place and you don't know its history or what it has to do. And that's massive because you're very much a Warrens fan, which is fine. I think we can all respect the Warrens in the sense that they did pave the way for the paranormal, and that's massive. They were a massive part of the history, and I can respect that. I can respect that they paved the way for all of us here today, but they also did not like witches. So
Exactly.
that a massive, like, do you really think the Warrens would have been like, yeah, let's take our artifacts, which Lorraine also said she didn't want that to happen to her things, right? She's said that before. And, and then now they're taking her out and then making a whole spectacle of her. I can't say it's for cash grab. I just believe, in my opinion, that it's for cash grab. And, because I'll never know anybody's intentions, truly. But then you're taking a place that the Warrens would have probably never taken her to, because they just didn't respect witches.
Right.
You're correct. No, you are really correct. I mean, we had somebody on, without mentioning their names, that was really close to Ed and Lorraine, and that person said pretty much the same thing, and
but they also said too, are you going to say that, Chrissy? I'm jumping ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, and again, I'm curious about this, and maybe it's more of a question for Stevie, because I'm really curious about this. But they said that they wanted those artifacts or those items from the museum to go to the Vatican.
I did hear that. I don't know if that's
the truth or not.
Right. Thank you for clarifying, Annabelle. My noodle agrees with yours. Yeah. No, I did hear that. And I believe that that's something that they tried. I don't know 100%. Stevie would be the best person, but I do believe that that's something that they did try. And I think the Vatican even said no. I don't know, but I think I remember them saying no. I don't know if
yeah, I heard that they did say no, but
Okay.
I don't know if it's true or not. But.
Yeah, that's the only thing I don't know, if it's true or not. Yeah. I have to ask Stevie. She's the one that does all the research on that. Then, yeah.
She deep dives. She's amazing. She needs to be like an actual journalist. Like it's crazy how good she is at that. Because I'll try to Google something, I can't find it. I can't even find myself on the internet, let alone she's finding all these people. And I'm like, how do you do that?
I know. There's some people that are like researchers that are they just do those deep dives. I have no patience whatsoever. I'm like you. I'm like, I have no patience whatsoever in regards to that. So
she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing.
Yes. Well, maybe, hopefully, put a little bug in your ear. Maybe we can have you and Stevie and Ms. Paranormal and even Kat to come on.
Awesome.
The four ladies that is really everybody's just talking about, to come on and do maybe a panel or something like that, or round table.
Yeah, I'm sure we would love that. Absolutely.
I think it would be fun. Of course, it'd probably be about 2 hours instead of an hour.
Right. No, absolutely. Ms. makes a good point, though. She goes, which makes you question all the proof they supposedly have on these items. It wasn't good enough for the Vatican to accept the items.
Right.
Yes.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very good point, Ms.
And just so people know, the Catholic Church is the only one that is ordained to give exorcisms. Just so everyone understands that history, that is like why those objects would probably go in their hands, because of the demonicness of them. So in case people are confused
that is
about
true.
that. So I don't know. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, it's Annabelle is always an interesting subject nowadays. Has been for a year, since she supposedly started the fire at the plantation in New Orleans, which the guests we have talked to who is from New Orleans, they're kind of like 50-50. Some says yes, it was her, and some says no, it wasn't her. I really don't think so. It was her, but that's just my opinion only.
Yeah, I think it all goes under something called the egregore theory. Have you guys ever heard of the
Yes.
egregore
Oh, yeah.
theory?
Mhm.
So I think it goes really massively under that. We all know that magic, being witches, that comes from within your
Yeah.
belief in it. If someone's like, I'm going to harm you, and be like, well, that's good for you, I don't believe that you can. So, that, your magic doesn't have power over me. And I think it's the same thing with voodoo, hoodoo. I don't know enough, but magic, I think it's all the same. The belief that you put in something is what causes that hysteria within magic. And it's like every single little bad thing that happens to you that you now equate, wow, I walked past Annabelle 2 days ago and I just stubbed my toe and now I'm like, not feeling so good, and then I just got in a car crash. And so you're manifesting all of these energies. And so I kind of think that's what it goes down to. And I've said this a lot in the paranormal. I think a lot of these haunted places have been manifested with the egregore theory.
Right.
Obviously not asylums. Asylums have had some deep, deep, dark, sad histories, but for the most part, so I don't know. I don't think so. But, if people want to have fun with it and run away, you do you on that one.
Exactly. No, it's true. Very true. Chrissy, I was going to ask her one of your questions here, if you don't mind. I was going to say, you stated that you'd like to hold Annabelle. Is that true? And have you heard back on your request on that?
No, they won't respond to me. They probably will never respond to me. I think there's been a few people that have come forward and stated that they wanted to do that prior to me. Yes, I would love to hold her. I would love to hold her if they want to be in the room with me and watch and know that I'm not going to do something to harm her or ruin the doll. I just want to sit there for 10 minutes, just for, paranormal investigation. I don't know if I think people said Zach Baggins did touch her. I don't know that for sure. I've never seen his show before. I've never seen a single bit of his show before. So I don't know if that's truth. But yeah, I would love to sit and just touch her and just hold her, have breakfast with her. I don't know, just have a conversation with her. Just truly, I would love to do that. No, I don't think that they would, because I think once you let someone do that, you then either ruin the facade, right? That they're putting behind her. And then that might ruin their money or might ruin their reputation. That's why I say I think that they could still get just as much attention if you said for entertainment purposes only. People go to Halloween Horror Nights in Universal Studios every year, and they know that's not real, but they have fun, right? And I think it's just the nostalgia of Annabelle, where she came from, the story that still makes her, enough to people want to go see her. So he touched his leg. Tony was big mad. He purposely touched. Of course he did. Zach Baggins is still running.
Tony Sparrow?
Yeah, Tony Sparrow. Yeah. And Tony had oven mittens on. That's what he was holding her when he took her out of the cage. Huh?
I said, I must have missed that.
You have to YouTube it. Once you get off of here, you have to YouTube it.
Yeah. Because he did, and Tony got really mad, and he took the doll back and said, you can't, he stopped taping, he took the doll and left the building. Like it just stopped. Yeah, he stopped it. Yeah, see what Ms. said, it goes against their claims, which then doesn't hold validity, which means it makes them look like, but then again, it's like we can all speculate someone's intention. We don't ever truly know someone's intention because we're not them, right? We can't think for somebody else. We can't state, and that becomes a fact. So for me, I do believe it's a cash grab just of everything that I've seen, it's hard not to see it that way. And then you see the way that they are treating the community and everything. It just all kind of adds up to like, it's okay if you want it to be a cash grab, just say that it is. People are still going to support you. They're still going to come out and see her, because they're going to do what they want to do, but like you said, at least educate the people so that they can use their noodles, as you said, and be able to make an executive or educational decision,
People just want her to be real so bad. And I'm like, she is real. She's tangible. You can touch her. Of course she's real. But it's not about her being real. It's just about the lies that go with her that really irritate me. Just really irritating.
Yeah. When I saw one of your posts on you want to hold Annabelle and stuff, I had a dream that night that I went and I was holding Annabelle, and we was having tea and everything. We had a great time.
Jealous. Jealous.
Yeah,
I didn't get the invite. Dang it.
I know. What about us?
I know.
I know. She seems like
I
she'd be cool
know.
to with.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when I was a kid, I had a Raggedy Ann doll, that, of course, when you're
I
a
still
kid, you
do.
have
Yeah.
tea. And it's just like, I'm with you on this, I really think that they should just go ahead and just do it and just see,
Mhm.
because I'm even, of course something's going to happen. I believe that nothing's going to happen anyway, but it's like you said, it's a money grab, you know.
Mhm.
But
That's what it seems to be to
everybody's
me.
still
Out of
gonna go.
everything.
You go to a haunted house every year for Halloween with your kids,
Right.
and you know that's not real,
Right.
but you still spend the money on it. So,
Right.
Right.
She can
Exactly.
still be an
you know,
attraction.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
Free
it's
Annabelle.
it's
Here's what never predicted. I love it. We need to get shirts made of
the
that.
I think that's awesome. I know. If you do, I'll
You
buy one. I want
should.
one.
We need one.
So why do you
Yeah,
feel
we
like
should make shirts like that and just take pictures of it and put it on social media.
right?
Start a new trend. You
Yep.
know.
I agree.
So going back to paranormal again, why do you feel like there is so much dissension and so much bullying that's happening in the paranormal community? I mean, I'm flabbergasted at the shit I see, excuse me, on Facebook, because I'm mainly more on Facebook, But I'm just amazed at these keyboard warriors that open their mouth, and it's like we're all after the same thing. Why is there so much dissension?
I just
Mhm.
I wish I had the answer. I really do. And I know that when there are people that come in my comment section and they're just rude to me, I'm like, I know you didn't watch my video. I know that if you sat down and physically talked to me, I would not degrade your intelligence. I would not say that your opinions are not valid.
Yeah.
Right.
But it literally comes down to, for me as a debunker, I don't even know if I consider myself a debunker because that's really putting myself on a high pedestal, but a part of that community in some sort. When I look at things, if I can't hold it, see it, or physically something that's tied to it, it's just not real enough for me to say it's real. And it is healthy for people to question things. And I think maybe that the fact that we're questioning something that just is so real to somebody takes it away from them. And then we become that mean, horrible target to them, because it's like, how could you say something that is so true to me? And it's like, that doesn't make it any less true for you. It's
Right.
just, it's healthy to question, as you should. And it could be because there are some people that just have bad intentions because they don't want their personas to get ruined on the internet. Maybe it'll ruin their money. Maybe it'll ruin their channel. I get that, but just say it, because I have a feeling if everyone sees that, they're like, okay, wow, they admitted they're for entertainment purposes. I respect that. I would respect that. I know it. You know it. Give it up. There was one particular content creator, not going to name names, but I was friends with this individual, and he was had a very big paranormal channel. And, I had talked to him over the phone, did a mediumship for him about somebody who recently passed. And then he turned to God and Jesus. And it was one of those, like, you're saying that everything that I do now is the devil, but you were just doing it. So it made me realize that there's a way that these content creators have a hard time taking responsibility for their actions. Instead of just saying, listen, it's not working anymore, no one believes me, you're going to flip the script and go completely opposite direction to not admit that you were wrong, that you were a content creator. And I will never understand that. That really hit me so hard when I saw that, because I supported this person. I was, I appreciated their content, and to see that it was just like, I will never understand why they just won't say it. And it's like, it could be for many reasons, but I feel a lot of the bullying stems from, earlier today, in my comment section, under one of my posts that was nobody is an expert in the field. It was that post. Under the comment section, somebody had wrote a novel, and I said, well, ideas start, then it turns into, an opinion, and then you do research, and then it turns into an opinion, and that's it. I said, what am I missing here? ? And then he says, wow, how could you change my words around like that? I see that you're disagreeing with me because you're changing my words. And I just responded back to him very politely. I said, listen, I have no reason to change your words. I don't know you or care enough to do that. For me, being wrong is completely okay. I will admit my faults, but I'm like, I don't like the victimizing that happens in comment sections. You are automatically assuming that I changed your words, and now you're victimizing yourself, and you're creating this scenario that didn't happen, that never did. Then he responded back saying, well, I was just trying to teach you something. I guess you're not open to it. And I said, there we go again. You're then victimizing and then assuming that I didn't want to hear you out or didn't want to learn something from you. I said, how could I open up to someone who does that? You're making me the bully in your story. And I think that's where a lot of it starts. I think there's a lot of assuming people's intentions. And then it becomes one big, huge game of telephone that everyone fucking sucks at. And then it turns into, can you believe that Luna said, I don't know anything and she doesn't want to learn from me? And then it turns, oh my God, did you hear that Luna called this guy stupid and he doesn't know anything? And it just spirals. And I think that's what really happens in these comment sections. It's just, I don't understand why everybody wants to be right so bad. It's not about—
That's exactly it.
Right. It's not about being right. It's just about understanding what's in front of you and questioning things. And it's healthy to question things.
Right.
And just because the questioning makes you feel some type of way doesn't mean I forced you to feel that way. That's something you got to think about yourself and do some work on yourself, some shadow work there, because
that's where the shadow work comes into play then for sure. Yeah.
And then the name calling and all the bullying. And I'm just necessary. It's not, you're never going to have two people in one room. They're never going to get along 100%. Shocking. Like, how do we not understand that people are going to have their own opinions? And that's okay. It's how you handle yourself. That is what makes you a good person. Those are troll bear traps where they purposely misconstrued what you're saying and try to get you to go in circles with them to justify what you said. And they know very well what you meant.
Yes,
they just right. It's like, okay, be right. You're right. Your opinion is right to you. But for me, we can't have a conversation that way. There's just no healthy way because you've already made up your mind about me. And that's tough. It's literally people against the Warrens and with the Warrens. And here's the thing, us debunkers, we're not against the Warrens. We're not against them. We want to preserve the history. We want to respect the history. We want to give the history, the story that's true. We're not going to just sugarcoat it and say all these nice things. We want to preserve. We want to help those things. It's not that we're here to be mean or say, oh, they were horrible people. Listen, if they were horrible people, that's on them. That's not on us if that's the way that the stories were told. We're just telling it the way that it was. We're always going to preserve the history 100% as it was told or left to be said. There's nothing that's going to be made up from us. So I think a lot of the people in that community, if they understood that about me, Ms. or Kat and Stevie, and even Jason, I think if they understood that we respect in some aspects what the Warrens did and that we're just trying to preserve the history in the correct way, we're just trying to tell the story that way, I think that they would see us a little bit differently.
I agree. Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that too, because we sometimes, Sis and I we get not really hate email or messages, but we get like, I can't believe that you guys are having this person on, and everything. And it's just like I keep telling over and over again, it's a truth to both sides, what their truth is. You take away from it what you decide.
Remember,
So,
Chrissy, what I said to you in the messages before I got on? I said, "Are you sure you want me on your channel because of how
And
many
you know what?
people
It wasn't about you. What
Mhm.
one of the messages that we received was not about you, but it was about another guest. And
Even if
and
it
then
was fine, but I
and then
even said that to
disparaging
her.
remarks.
Yeah. I even said that to
yeah.
her because I understood that what I
Mhm.
do
You
causes a
did.
lot of conflict. And the last thing, respectfully, I want to do is put that on
Mhm.
anybody. That's why I say that, because I respect other
Mhm.
people's peace and privacy.
Mhm.
Just because I say it's okay to throw the potatoes at me doesn't mean that I'm okay with doing it to other people. And
Right.
so we just
Right.
get
No,
we just get misunderstood a lot in the debunking
yeah.
community as bullies, and it's not. We're not. That's not what we're doing. And what Ms. said, that's where the problem lies. They're upset
Mhm.
that we want to preserve the factual historical timeline where they
Right.
want to preserve the narrative
Yeah.
that was fabricated.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Yeah. And I think that's what Stevie said too when we was in conversation, are you sure you want me on? It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
which I appreciate, the
Yep.
concern,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but it's like I said, let everybody else decide.
Yep.
We're
Right.
just saying, telling both sides of the story. I'm not saying that you're right or wrong. I just want to hear your side. I want to hear their
Yeah.
side, and just
Right.
have everybody just decide for themselves. Because
Mhm.
in this life, you have to be yourself. You have to be you. You cannot have
Mhm.
anybody to decide, to go to the bathroom or not go to the bathroom. I mean, you just
Right.
have to do it. And I appreciate what you and all the other ladies are doing, because it's not entertainment. I don't take it as entertainment. I take it as, let me think about this. Let me do my own research too,
Yeah.
So, like you said, the noodle, it
Mhm.
Yeah.
goes there, it's there,
We're
you
we're
know.
like the journalists, you see the news
Yeah,
anchors up every day giving the news. We're the ones that are just giving the news in the paranormal as we
Yeah.
see it. And people
Right.
don't like the messengers sometimes. They'd rather slap the messengers. And we get it.
yeah.
Sometimes, and I don't think people understand too, when we hear things about certain stuff, we get so disappointed and so
Mhm.
upset ourselves that that is what we're hearing and that might be the truth that we have to give.
Mhm.
I know that Ms. can contest. I've come to her a few times and say, girl, and we've called each other out. And she's like, you know what, you're right. And we do it to each other. We keep each other factual. We keep each other stable. We call each other out. It's hard sometimes to have to put the news out there for things because you like somebody. Like, for instance, Ryan Buell, I looked up to him when I was a kid in high school. I wanted to go to his own college, that specific course that they had, and to see what happened afterwards, it's really gut-wrenching, but you still have to call those people out because that means you care. It means you care. So it's tough.
That is true.
Bunkers, debunkers, we
That is
appreciate
very
you
true.
giving us a platform to be heard. Yep. And for people to get to know who we are as human beings, because often we're painted as
Yep.
horrible things.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
You
Been there,
know,
done that.
Yeah. Which
we
is,
will be there to fight with
oh yeah.
anyone.
Well,
Anyone, any day. We would be right by
oh
your
yeah.
side to help you fight through whatever it is that you needed if you came to us. And I think a lot of people would be surprised on the other side because they want to put sides. We would definitely help you understand where we're coming from. And we never want to degrade, dox, call anyone names. That's not the point. For us, we don't want to be
Mhm.
right. That's the thing. It sucks to have
Yeah.
to give shit news.
It
We want
does.
to
Yeah.
news, and it
Yeah.
sucks.
Well, it goes to all sides, being a witch, paranormal investigator, just anything now. You have your debunkers, you have your more or less witch wars and stuff. Everybody's not happy where unless they are making somebody else life a living hell.
Yeah.
And
Miserable.
I just don't know why.
Me too.
It's just like, you have one life to live. Live your life. Who gives a rat's ass about if they do this, if they do that?
Right.
You can correct them in a
Mhm.
nice, calm way. You don't just go up and says, you're doing that all wrong. You such an idiot. But if you
Yeah.
just be nice and get it out,
Yeah.
that's okay. But everybody's fighting. It's not just the paranormal, it's the witchy universe,
Yeah.
it's the vampire universe, it's the satanic universe. And it's
Right.
like, why are we fighting?
Right.
You know, it doesn't make sense.
I think if you go back in history, it's always been this way. Even if it's not been on the internet, it's
I
always
know,
been
they
about
should.
something. You know, like, wow, Susie Homemaker has better milk churning skills than I do. How dare she? You know, I'm sure
Yeah.
it happened, you know, and
Yeah.
this is just the way of the world.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well,
you're
it's
always.
it's such a competition. And why is it such a competition? What are you going to get out of this by competing? There's nothing to compete against. We're all after the same thing.
We
That's
want to preserve the history the way that it was told properly.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
it. Whether
Right.
that makes you feel upset in any type of way, trust me, I was pissed off when I heard Ryan Buell wasn't the person I thought he was. But
Right.
guess what? I can drink that cup of, you know, knowledge and say, listen, now I can decide on my own, you know, instead of going to fight everybody about it. It's like, that pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. But you know what? I can handle that because I'm an adult and say, you know what? It just is what it is. You know, there's a lot of things out there where people just have to understand the truth sucks. Not always going to be fun, but I can't make you take the truth the way that you need to. But the way you present yourself is exactly the way that you're showing the paranormal. It doesn't matter if you're a content creator, one of the 3 people causing issues right now. You are showing yourself the way that the internet's always going to see you forever. Just remember that. Just remember that. Because people are watching, they are listening, and we don't want to make you look bad. You're doing it yourself. That's not us. So,
yeah, clearly.
That is absolutely correct, and it's really sad. I mean, you know, what happened to what's that saying? Peace, love, and chicken grease, or something like that. My grandma used to say that. You know, just make peace, love, and chicken grease. Everything's okay. You know, so yeah. But, you know, it does get crazy. It really does. And we do have a comment by Ms. here, if I can bring it up.
Oh, wait, yeah.
There we go.
Saying,
but somebody said recently, somebody said recently something. Oh, there we go. There's something that I take with me for the rest of my life, which was if they're talking about me, they're leaving someone else alone, and we are okay with that. Yes, I can understand that. Most definitely. But I just want to say, Luna, it's been absolutely delightful for you to come on. Okay, I don't care what anybody says about you. You're cool.
Thank you. I feel really honored. Thank you. I think a lot of people are surprised when they get me on the podcast. They're like, wow, she's really polite and really well spoken. And she's really well, this is really cool. Like, I like it. And I'm like, yes.
But you know what, though? I follow you and I follow Miss Paranormal on social media, and I haven't found Kat's account, and I do follow Stevie now, too. And I have to say, when I see the comments that come through when you post something on primarily you and Miss Paranormal, you guys aren't bullying people. You're literally stating facts. And so that's why it just kind of like it, that whole, whoever said that before, it was like a form of manipulation. And, you know, they want to, what she's called it, like bear traps, you know, basically it was a bear trap, you know. And you know, I totally agree with everything that you and Miss Paranormal says, because it's like you guys you're not saying things personally, you're not attacking somebody personally, you're just saying get your facts straight.
Yeah.
You know,
that's it. Just stop telling the stupid stories because they're not real, you know? And it's okay if you want to tell them for fun or make like an animation out of them or whatever. I mean, heck, Hollywood does it all the time based on true stories. Just because it's based on a true story doesn't mean that they're telling the story word for word. Shocking. Why would Hollywood ever do that? You know, it's just it's okay to run with it and have fun with it. But it's just, I don't know why. I just wish all of us could sit down at a table and have some freaking tea and just really, I wish one day. And also too, I just wish that all of us could just come together and just help preserve these places and just realize the history is the history, no matter what we want. Like, I don't like what I learned about the Revolutionary War, but that doesn't make it any less true, you know? And so it's just, You know, it's I just wish we could, but it's just not possible, unfortunately.
And you are too, Ms. Paranormal. I want to let you know that too.
And so are you,
Oh yes,
Zombie.
you are too.
Yes.
So yeah, Sis and I would just love it if we can have you and Ms. and
Kat and
Stevie and Kat. You just all come in and just sit down and just talk. You know, take questions from the audience.
Yeah.
We can even have a phone in questions too. People can phone in and ask, you know, because what you four have to say, it's like I said, it's not for entertainment, it's for educating us. Zombie
Right.
said it really well, you know, you
Yeah.
educating us, you making us decide on if we want to pursue on researching it or just take your word for it, you know, which is cool because research is golden, actually.
Right.
And we got a couple more comments here.
Hi, Patty.
Okay.
Thank you.
Patty. Yeah.
Yes, Patty.
Let me learn that. Yes.
My best
Then
friend.
we Then we got Ms. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome, sweetie. And then we have Patty again. Agree, you are rock stars. Yes, every bit of you ladies are.
Absolutely.
Don't forget that. And I don't think I have to tell you, don't let the haters bring you down. I think you already know that, you
No.
know. But it's kind of nice to have somebody tell you that too, as
Yeah,
well.
I appreciate
Don't let the
that.
haters bring you down.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes every cell in my body to not go to your page and just grab these people and says, "What the hell are you doing? They're just educating us. Leave them alone."
Yeah. No
Yep,
kidding.
trust me, it takes a lot for me too. I am a Sagittarius. It takes a lot.
I'm a
lot.
Scorpio.
I'm a
Yeah.
Pisces,
And my
right? You would think I'm a Scorpio.
My husband is always saying, he's saying, honey, don't say nothing to get anybody mad at you. Just, you know, just stay out of danger, you know, and stuff.
I
But
know I've got thick skin
I
and I am
tend to
strong
walk
because
towards
my
it.
mouth says everything I'm thinking. So when I make these videos, I am very much on my P's and Q's. I'm minding every single one of them because what I would really like to say compared to what I'm saying, trust me,
Yeah.
what we're doing is true journalism. It is not bullying because I could very much be the bully and I could be very good at it. So no, we are not, you know. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, we better let you go. I'm sure you have other things to do besides talking to us.
I'm gonna
So,
eat something.
but I just want to tell the audience to jump over to the banner that's going across the screen. Check out her tarot cards. I'm going to, and I'm going to buy you that.
Yeah.
Yes, there they are. But go ahead and watch her and the other ladies, and you know, give them some support, give them some love because they're getting kind of a lot of haters out there, which should not be hate. It should be just love.
Yeah.
So, with that, go over to Within the Cauldron, subscribe, like, and share out. And I just want to tell everybody have a blessed evening and goodbye.
And
And
stay
thank
with
you
us
again,
more.
Luna. And stay behind for a little bit.
Yeah.
Sagittarius ladies.